back down. We've also had, actually last night we had 15 police cars and a police truck out the front of the gym for about 4.5 hours, and none of us were there, but they thought we were going to be there. So it was a bit of a setup. So they've been gunning for us for a while, and I think it's because we've been very vocal as to what your rights are and how, without an override declaration, it becomes an unlawful directive. Because an unlawful directive is any directive that's in violation of another law. So that makes the directive unlawful. So that's been our argument for a long time. And, and because we haven't sort of stopped promoting, the standing up of one's rights, I've been doing lives myself, and we've been sharing videos. We've had a few viral videos. It's obviously pissed them off to the point of which they decided to invest in 15 police cars yesterday and a police truck to block off 4 streets into my where my gym is, and the media was there, but we weren't.
So can we just backtrack, Nick? Can we just so what we'll do? We're going to do it like this. Raph, first we're going to bring up the story. Yeah, let's bring up the story. We're going to have a look at the story, and then we're going to go into the backstory of the story.
All right. Well, I'll bring up the messenger that I was sent just to get to just the news article first?
Yeah, the news article, yeah.
Yeah.
So who wrote the news article?
Let me just go check now.
So
didn't realize I was bringing it up.
Give people an understanding what was written on the news article, Raf.
Yeah, so pretty much on the news article, wait, you know what? I'm just gonna quickly bring it up just so I don't get anything wrong, just to make sure it's all right. But Fernanez, while I'm looking for it, let people know your thoughts on, stage 4 lockdowns.
Yeah, so we've moved into stage 4 lockdowns as of 6 p.m. tonight. Pretty much draconian measures. You can't leave the house. When I was reading what you can't do, I was like, it sounds like you're in prison. You have to, you've got a curfew. You got to be back by no later than 8 p.m. So 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. you can't be out of the house. 1 hour of exercise a day, like you're in solitary confinement. Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. And people were asking, why don't you organize a protest? Why? Because I didn't want to be the person that was going to be responsible and be blamed at, and other people such as myself, Raf, and anyone else who would have been the people talking about that stuff to instigate these measures. As you can see, we didn't have any action whatsoever, and these measures have still come into play, which just goes to show it's got nothing to do with people being disobedient and everything to do with the government bringing in measure after measure after measure just because they feel like it. And, people can argue all they want about the numbers. I don't care about the numbers, man. I care about the mortality rate, right? That's what we care about. And, and we care about the testing rate. How many people came positive? I couldn't give a shit if it's 200,000 cases, if it's still a 0.4% positivity rate. It means nothing. Yeah. If the mortality rate is still below 1%, it doesn't matter whether there's 3 million. If the mortality rate is way, way below a certain number and the recovery rate's through the roof, it just goes to show that we recovered through this thing and it didn't really do anything, but that's just my view and that's my belief on the matter. Right. Raf, you got that article up?
Yep. Let me
share away, mate.
Let me just share screen here. Awesome. All right.
All right, we've got 700 on, guys.
So we have an article here by news.com.au written by Sarah McPhee and Benedict Brook. I actually wish I brought up a photo of these because it's been ridiculous lately, the people that have been writing these articles. So let's see the article that they wrote. Police in Victoria have intervened to stop a planned meeting of anti-masker conspiracy theorists. The event was supposed to take place at a gym in the Melbourne suburb Cranbourne. A family member of one of the event's organisers told The Age she contacted police to warn them it was happening. We were trying everything possible to get the meeting stopped, she said. We're all just trying to do the right thing. Dozens of police showed up to surround the venue with roadblocks. The Herald Sun reports officers smashed in the window of a young female driver's car around 6:30 p.m. after she refused to speak to them. They briefly arrested the woman before letting her go for a short time.
So they damaged her property, harassed a poor innocent female, and they are speaking of these cops like they're heroes. Is that
Pretty
basically what happened? Okay.
That's what they've told the people.
Interesting. And what's the video underneath?
So firstly, we can go, actually, so these are the photos that they actually got showing the arrest, all the cops around them, around this gym, putting her at the back of the van.
So the way they're going to stop a virus spreading is from getting closer to her than anyone else has.
Yep, look at this.
5 of them. That's great.
There's actually a better article that they just released just after
Really?
this one as well. That's even better.
Do you know where it's from? Oh,
Yeah, I've got it on my screen. I don't know if you can
Okay.
share screen from my
Yeah,
end.
just stop your screen share. Go ahead and share your screen there, Nick.
Can I? Now, let me see. Can you see my screen? I don't know if you
No.
share screen.
So share
No.
screen and choose the screen you want to share, mate.
Oh no, I can't do that from my end. It's all
Oh,
right.
you can. All participants can.
Oh yeah, I can. Yes.
Yeah, everyone can.
All right.
I've allowed all participants to screen share. I'm just having a drink.
There we go,
It's not
there we go.
alcoholic,
Can you
guys.
see
It's
that?
just Coke, right? Just making it clear.
Here we go. Can you see that?
It's black. I can't see it.
You're not screen sharing anything at the moment, Nick?
Let me see. So I said I was sharing.
I think
What can you see?
Like-
What can you see your screen sharing, mate?
Coronavirus anti-mask meeting in Melbourne shut down
Have you
by
stopped your
police.
screen share, Raf?
Yeah.
Yeah, multiple
just-
participants can share. You should be able to share.
Yeah, well, it says
So
I'm sharing.
you've got to click share screen and then click.
Yeah, you got it.
There you go. Now it's up.
Just
Let's
took a bit of
go.
time. So you see this one?
Yeah.
Coronavirus anti-mask meeting in Melbourne shut down by police.
Okay.
One problem with this is that there was no anti-masker meeting. We
Can
were at home on Zoom watching from our cameras, and I was showing everybody. And we're having a laugh about it.
Can
So
we
it's
can
work
we
of fiction.
expand on that, Nick?
What's that?
Can we expand on that? So, firstly, we're talking media lies here, and we're talking police bullshit, right? Now, the media said this was an anti-maskers meeting. It wasn't an anti-maskers meeting, was it, Nick? What was the meeting all about? The first initial meeting you guys had at the gym. What was that about?
We've had a number of meetings where we basically teach, because it's a fight gym. So what I do is I get people in the gym and we do scenarios. So they'll partner up with someone and it's like sparring. So one person will be the police officer with 3 different scenarios. The other one will be, the individual that's dealing with the police officer. So we'll talk about scenarios, how to deal with it, what the law is, what your rights are, how to speak to police. And they kind of go back and forth. And then we start to muck around with it too. So I'll get all the people. So I'll go A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B. So the A's will be the police, the B's will be, just the civilians. I'll get the A's and I'll say, look, I want you to be really aggressive and I want you to make false claims. And then I'll go to the B's. I'll say, look, if they make any false claims, I want you to call them on it. And I give them specific ways to deal with them and to get them to invalidate their own claim. So, and that's what we do. It's just sparring. It'd just be like, if I'm doing a boxing class, I get them partnered up and they're sparring or they're hitting pads, and then they change over. We do it the same thing. It's word sparring. So that's all we do. And we just teach people how to stand up for themselves and what their rights are. And that's pretty much it.
So essentially, Nick, when they were saying you were an anti-masking meeting, once again, the media was lying through their teeth. And what you were doing was you were teaching people to feel comfortable when having conversations with police, because people have stopped feeling safe around police these days.
Oh, absolutely. And people, there's a lot of people that I know that have got churches. I know a lot of people in the church communities, and they want to keep their churches open because their religious right to, sort of trumps everything else.
Yeah.
So they want to know how to keep their churches open. People that want to keep their businesses open. When they told me I needed to close my business, I said, look, I'll close my business when you provide some evidence that I have to. And I don't believe that there is any evidence. And until you provide the evidence, because he who makes the claim bears the burden of proof, So if you're going to make the claim that I have to close, you've got to provide the evidence of that. Now, the police can't do that. All they can say is we have power from the government, we have power from the government. Once you start to question them a little bit and say, well, where does your power come from? They say the government. Which government? And where does the government get its power from? Because I thought the government got their power from us. So I'm just trying to work out where you get your power from. I think you're taking more power, and there's actually a maxim for that, which is the stream, is rising above its source, right? So I teach people how to deal with the police, but people just, like with my situation, they wanted me to shut my gym, but I don't have money in the bank just to survive for 6 weeks until Centrelink kicks in and starts paying me. So I needed something because I got a family of the 6 of us. I got 3 boys, one girl, my wife, myself, and that's how we survived is our gym. So they've really what they did to us would have. If I had to follow their directives, their unlawful directives, I would have been forced to have to beg and ask people for money until I would have been able to get money from the government. And that's not right. Okay, that's morally completely wrong. And the government has never been given that kind of power. That we've never. If you look at the parameters of the government power in any of the constitutions, whether it's a state or federal, they never have been given that kind of power. So I just went on. I can't close my gym because there's no evidence that your claim's valid. And if I was to close my gym, knowing that it's not valid, I'd be a liar as well.
Yeah. Nick, can we we'll keep going through the article and then we'll stop the screen share and let you keep going with that, mate.
This here is the out the front of my gym. That's in my street. There's a bit of a video. This is where they first set up. I'll just see if I can play. Can you see that?
Yeah, of course.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now,
so that's them setting up, and they set up the other end, the other street, and another street at the back as well. So there was a bunch of streets that they had blocked off, and my gym is just on the other side of the road, towards that car that's in the distance.
Okay, and obviously this Cameron Board guy, is he a Channel 7 reporter, is he?
Yeah. Now, there's a female driver that was taken into custody. I don't know who she is. Never met her in my life, so I don't know what's happened. But I would think that they were there for an agenda. They had a script to follow, and it wasn't going their way. So they had to create some kind of a controversy to make it look like they.
So they falsely arrested a female.
Yeah.
And made an allegation that she was there to be part of the event.
Yeah, and the event didn't happen. And there was 40 people on our Zoom that can attest to that.
How horrible is that for this female?
Oh, it's evil. What they're doing is they don't care about. There's no humanity in these people. They have no compassion. So we've got to, and the problem is, obviously people still believe that the government has their best interests and they trust them. But,
What's that article say? What's that article say? What does it say? It says multiple anti-maskers protesters were arrested on Friday after gathering for a demonstration in Melbourne. A video showed one man being apprehended by police at the Shrine of Remembrance. I love how they put us all within the same cohort of friends when we're not.
Well, I know one guy that was at that event, and he said that only one person was arrested. Everyone else wasn't, and nothing happened. He said to me that the media reports were fiction as well.
Yeah, but don't you love how they say that? Like, firstly, they called us a COVID deniers cult. When Nick, how many times have I spoken to you, mate, since today, ever?
I've only met you once at the protest in the city where I was arrested.
Yeah, and I wasn't even aware I'd met you that day because I met so many people. I remembered meeting you after I looked at the photo a while later, right? So apparently, though, we're actually pretty close. And when's the first time I spoke to you properly, Nick?
Yeah, it was today. It was earlier today. Yeah.
So, but apparently we're in a cult, right? Raph, when's the last time you spoke to Nick?
I've never had a conversation with Nick in my life, and we were on the same articles, part of the same cult. Like, aren't you supposed to know your cult members, the cult leaders? We're so close, right? Yeah. And I also want to talk about even like It's funny, the same people that are writing these articles about the cult leaders, you just see what they do with these fake news in the images. You got how many cops on one woman just to try and make everything so dramatic, just lying to the people. And that's why I love, we are here with Nick. Nick, it's nice to meet you for the first time. Apparently we're, you know, together in this group as cult leaders, but I'm so glad that you're here to talk to us about the story, the real story about what's going on, because Australia has been fooled for too long, and it's about time that the rest knew about this. So everyone watching this, just quickly, I need you guys to smash the hearts
and the share button.
So this, and share. I need each and every single one of you watching right now to share on
the hell out of it.
People need to see this.
We read a rebuttal. We did a rebuttal article that night, just exposing it. It's on my website, which is John8. So it's JOHN, the number 8.net. I've shared it on my Facebook page. I might, you know, share it.
I'll leave all your links.
I'll bring it up.
Nick, what we'll do, let's try and keep a little bit of structure. Let's try and explain how the police have done what they've done, and then how you've shafted them with regards to how everything turned out. So, what did the police had claimed they'd stopped, and what did they advertise, and what actually happened? So let's start with that. What did the police had claimed they'd stopped? An anti-maskers meeting, right?
Yep.
Now, they've gone and blocked off the streets around your gym, and then they haven't found anyone there, and they've gone and just pulled over a random female, broken her window, and arrested her.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. So Nick, do you want to tell everyone now why the police thought you were meeting there, and how they actually believed they were going to have to be there at a certain time, and what you guys were actually doing when they said all this stuff was going on?
Oh, because I advertised on Facebook that I run meetings where we teach people about how to deal with police, what their rights are. And I'm not the brains behind it. There's other people that have a lot more knowledge than me, but we just meet up at my gym. And so I advertised that. But then I got I sort of came together and we thought, you know what, I reckon because we had Evie Black there a couple of weeks in a row. So the first week she was with us was only a few days before she went through the
stop that screen share.
And she was attacked, like they went after her, right? This girl Evie Black, who's so anyway, so then we had her the next week at our event, and we took a photo and we shared the photo. Yeah. And then all these people were like, oh, I want to come. That's awesome, you know. And a lot of people want to come and learn what their rights are, and they were quite inspired. So I said, yeah, sure. I said, look, I just need to add you to a private group, and then so that we know who you are, and then we can invite you. And what we did is we cancelled the event. We organised a Zoom, and I didn't tell them until the day of the Zoom, and but I kept promoting it on the Facebook. I didn't think they would be that stupid, but I thought, you know what, maybe they will be. And then they turned up with, with everybody. The whole army turned up, you know, and we're on our Zoom going, look at this, they've all turned up, but we're not there. We're all sort of waving, hey, you know. But
so you guys are on the Zoom when all this was happening. We're all on the Zoom
watching this. We're all watching it. We're like having a laugh about it, you know, like, you know, I can't believe they actually turned up. And what we did was we took the piss out of them, because we went, so 6 o'clock was meant to start. So 10 to 6, I did a post saying, obviously they're looking at my Facebook, right? I went, oh, look, guys, change of plans. It's going to be at 7 o'clock. And then when it was 10 to 7, oh, change of plans. It's going to be 7:30. So we kept doing this. And that's probably why they were there for so long.
And they were at the front of your gym.
Yeah, I got some good videos to show you.
You've got videos of them at the front of the gym with the media.
Yeah.
Wow. So you hadn't really done anything yet. They hadn't caught you doing anything yet. They hadn't really made any arrests, or had you? But they already had the media there.
Yep, the media was ready to go. They got there about 10 or 15 minutes after the police got there, and were setting up their roadblocks. So it was all orchestrated. They're all working together.
So you're saying that the police and Raf, you'd agree with what we're saying here, that the police could be believed to be working with the media to the extent that they are actually tipping off the media to be there while they're there.
It sounds a lot like that, because it seems as if they're texting each other saying, "Oh yeah, we're meeting here at this time," because that's what we saw on the cameras.
Now let me set the scene, right? So you've gone 6 o'clock. Now let's make it 7 o'clock. Now let's make it 8 o'clock. The police are thinking, we've got these bastards. How stupid are they? They're just telling us all this. You guys have decided to do a Zoom call. They've gone blocked off the roads, but the media has written an article anyway because they couldn't have wasted wages. Was that right, Raf?
Yep, looks like it. And you know, they had to come up with some sort of story, obviously, because you know, no one's showing up at all at this gym. The cops have been waiting there. You know, the sun's starting to go down, and surely they realize something's going on. And then, you know, they have to come to their last resort because they brought in, it was about 15 police cars. The whole media came through. So just to make it as if, you know, it was worth going, they had to pull over some innocent lady and smash her window, like we saw in that article that was written.
Well, she was an actor.
It's possible. You know, I don't know it, so it's possible.
You know what? With that, the female that got her harassed at the Flemington Flats, you remember that? When she was getting pulled out of the car by the police, you know where she was looking? Directly at the camera. Who looks at a camera while they're getting pulled out of a car? Wouldn't you be looking at the assailant pulling you out of the car and freaking out at that person? Wouldn't you be in fear looking at the person that's pulling you out of the car? Why would you be looking directly at the camera?
I would think that you would actually, if you were aware of the camera, you'd probably look away from the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Talk about it. Talk about another actor there. No one would look. No, if you're in a distressing situation like that, no one in their right mind would be looking at a camera. They'd be looking at the person that's attacking them, because that's where their focus would be with your fight, flight, or freeze instinct, right? You'd be looking on the thing that's grabbing you, right? Or you'd be hiding because you're in fear. One of the two. You wouldn't be looking at a camera in the distance.
It's all a work of fiction, you know,
So,
a whole lot.
So now the police have arrived and they're out the front of your gym, and you've got some video footage to show us.
Yeah.
So the police are saying that they managed to do it. They stopped this anti-mask protest, anti-mask meeting, which had nothing to do with masks, had to do with the fact that people very, very feel unsafe dealing with the authorities these days, though they are having dealing with a summary offence, which isn't a crime, right? It's not an indictable offence. They feel that they need to be able to explain themselves like common criminals. So they've gone to Nick's gym, where they were going to be able to be educated, to be able to deal with the police in a way that they're going to feel that they're not going to have themselves in danger, and at the same time be able to explain themselves in a way where the police are going to have to, where they would feel that the police are, you know, have to listen to what they're saying because they're speaking through the eyes of a lawful flesh living man or woman, right? And that's why they've been going down. So Nick's been trying to do a service to the community, but he's being painted like, an anti-masker. Who even made that stupid phrase up, anti-masker? Seriously. All right, Nick. So what do you got for us, mate?
All right, I'm just going to share screen.
This is like out of a movie.
Now, can you see that?
No.
No.
Might take a moment before it comes through.
You got to be
It is
careful.
sharing.
Yeah. Now we can see it. Yes.
All right, so you see this is where they start. This is at 4:36.
This is so good.
And see, you can see right up in the left-hand corner, they're setting the roadblocks up there. Okay, and then let's look at the next one. Here's the you see the reporters?
Yeah. Well, they're there already.
Oh.
They're there. So that's 5:17. They were there. Yeah. So it wasn't that long after that they arrived.
But you haven't done anything yet. They haven't caught you of anything, but the reporter's already there.
They're already
there. So
there.
No crime's been committed yet, but you're already getting ready to be reported on.
Oh, this is my mate went for a drive. Went for a drive to have a look at what was going on. That's just out the front of the gym, but they've blocked off all the other streets as well into the gym.
Look
Now,
how late you've let.
Nick,
look how
were you
late you've
guys
let
also
them
doing
out.
the common law court thing there as well?
Here we go. Oh, well, this is at the end. So this is at 9:15. They did this for about 45 minutes, just with their lights on, right at the front. It's like a dog that's marking its territory. You know, it's got a show run. You know, we're the boss. There's nothing else they can do. That's the end. They've got nothing else. They've got to just harass the residents in these that live here and out the front of my gym, and just to make everybody think that I'm a bad guy, and that's why the police are there. All they did was they basically just stayed there for 45 minutes with their lights on for no reason. There was no reason to have the lights on. Yeah. It's. I mean, I think it's beautiful because it shows how ridiculous everything is. You know, and I'll see what else have I got. Here's another one of my mates went for a drive down there.
Hey, Nick, can I just say something about that? This is what I don't understand, right? How many people were going to have shown up at that meeting and interacted with each other? Possibly 10?
No, probably about 30 or more. Yeah.
Okay. So they were trying to circumvent 30 people meeting by using possibly 30 people worth of resources that were going to interact with each other anyway.
Yeah, probably more than 30 people worth of resources. You know, it was
so how does that make sense? You're stopping 30 people from meeting by having 50 people interact.
There's another one that I want to show, and it's where I think I'm going to find it, but it's where this is where they've just set up. It's where the police, I might have to have a look for the other one. There's one where the police, it looks like they're arresting that woman. I've got that video as well. I'll have to have a look for that. Anyway, I'll stop share.
But that's not what they wrote in the media, was it, Raph? That's not what they wrote in the article.
Not in the article.
Okay, so in the article, let's go read the entire article now that we know the whole story.
Yeah, let me go screen share it.
So fake news.
So news.com.au, the ultimate fake news.
Police in Victoria have intervened to stop a planned meeting of an anti-masker conspiracy theorists. The event was supposed to take place at a gym at the Melbourne suburbs of Cranbourne. A family member of the event's organisers told The Age she had contacted police to warn them it was happening. Now, did you guys do that, or was that just someone who was meant to be at the meeting? Nick?
I don't know anything about that, to be honest with you. I don't know where that came from.
We were trying everything possible to get the meeting stopped, she said. We're all trying to just do the right thing. Dozens of police showed up to surround the venue with roadblocks. The Herald Sun reports officers smashing in the window of a young female driver's car around 6:30 p.m. after she refused to speak to them. They briefly arrested the woman before letting her go a short time later. Keep going down.
I've just been sent open. Hey, Nick, should I open up the original article, or do you reckon these photos are
this
okay?
is another article.
Oh, okay. I'll open up the other one after we look at the photos then.
Yeah. Well, let's have a look at the other article Nick shared, and we'll read that one too, just so we can see, like, what the media said and what actually happened.
Let's go find it.
Always happens.
It's absolutely unbelievable what's happening here. Like, I can't believe what the hell is going on. We're supposed to be dealing with such a deadly virus, a pandemic, you know, right now, but as of already, we're supposed to be under curfew from 8 p.m. 8 p.m. from now on in Melbourne. And they're trying to pull stunts like this, getting together and even inviting the media on board to try and, you know, get on board with this.
Share till you bring up that article.
Yeah.
That way people don't see everything on your...
It's fine. My messages are bloody everywhere. That's why it's fine. I have so many on...
Oh, it was you, Raph.
Yeah. All right, here.
We got 1,300 on, guys. 1,300.
Awesome, guys.
We've got 1,300 people watching this. Guys, please, if you're watching this, press that share button, right? Smash the hearts. Let's get this out to everywhere so people can see. The media are full of shit. They're lying to everybody. And we've got someone who was actually within the article that they're talking about with security footage from his own gym. You don't get more evidence than that to show that the media are lying through their teeth. Right? Is that the article there? All right.
I'll read it out.
Coronavirus anti-masker meeting in Melbourne shut down by police. Let's see if I can move this out the way a little bit. Let's put it down here. Let's scroll down. Here we go. Victoria Police intervened to squash a planned gathering of anti-mask coronavirus conspiracy theorists at a gym in Melbourne suburbs, Cranbourne, on Saturday night. So they say it's anti-mask, but it had nothing to do with masks, did it, Nick?
No. Well, it didn't have anything to do with anything because it didn't exist. It didn't happen.
Right? A family member of one of the event's organisers told The Age she had contacted police to warn them it was happening. We were trying everything possible to get the meeting stopped, she said. We're all just trying to do the right thing. Dozens of police showed up, surrounded the venue with roadblocks. The Herald Sun reports officers smashing the window of a young female driver's car around 6:30 after she refused to speak to them. We'd love to speak to the female who was involved in this incident, who was actually traumatized by this. And if you'd like to tell your side of the story where you were falsely arrested and your property was damaged by the people that are meant to protect and serve, please get in contact with myself, Raph, or Nick, and let's get the truth out there, right? Dozens of police showed up to surround the venue. They briefly arrested the woman before letting her go a short time later. Excuse me, this is unlawful, she protested. Oh, really? She protested. Channel 7 reporter Cameron Board took video footage of the incident. There are also photos taken by Susan Dalibasic. Sounds familiar. Susan Dalibasic.
That sounds familiar.
Isn't that
No,
the
it
chick
does.
who wrote the other article about us?
Yeah, probably. No, we've come
Australian
across
article,
this name.
Crystals. Do a Google search on her name. Please do a Google search on her name. Please. Just...
Sorry, Susan Deli Basic. Yeah,
Deli
we've
Basic.
come across this name
I'm
before.
telling you,
I can't
it's her,
believe
bro.
It is.
Images.
Let's have a look. Yes, it is.
It is
Hey,
her.
Do you
Mate,
guys
you're a
remember?
Remy. They love us, bro.
Do you guys remember Susan?
Hey, Nick. So this female that wrote this article about you, about what happened at the gym, she's the same snake that wrote the article about apparently that we're a cult and we sell crystals, and we're funding our movement by selling crystals. Cult like, and
What was that? They said that you sell crystals.
Yeah. So Raf's got these things
Oh,
called
right.
shungite, right? And they've actually got scientific proof behind the mineral that it actually absorbs electromagnetic frequencies. So Raf got it, and he asked if he could distribute it. I say, yeah, if you want, you can tell people about it. Why not? You can give it to like-minded people who want to buy it. And they painted us like we're a cult, and now we're selling crystals because that's how we're funding what we're doing.
And the way they made it as well is hilarious because they're like, oh, profiting from this pandemic. It's like,
Yeah, I know. I can't believe they said that too, bro. They said
Oh,
they said profiting from this pandemic. So
Yeah.
there you go. Can you see, guys? Can you see how all the media are all in bed together, and all of these articles are written by the same circle of people, right?
Well, I got a photo here of the. I'll just go back. I'll share screen.
Yep.
and guys, remember, we are the media now because they're trying to get us on the media. So they're realizing what's happening here. So we need you guys to understand that you're the media too, and that to share this out, share this far and wide.
We are the people's media, mate, and people need to start sharing this stuff.
So this looks like. Can you see that, guys?
Yeah, you can see the whole roadblock.
Yeah, and you see this car. That's it's like it looks like a grey car. But it's
Yeah,
hard to
that's
tell.
her car, the one that got smashed.
Yeah, that's it. It looks like there's glass on the ground as well.
Yeah, you
All
can
the
see
places
that.
there. Yeah.
So this poor girl gets her car smashed, and she had nothing to do with what was happening at all.
Yeah, they're just a goon squad, mate. That's what they are. It's just about terrorizing people. That's all it is.
Yeah. So if anyone knows this female who was involved in that incident, please, we would love to speak to her and let her get her story out onto people. Know that you have a voice and you don't need to deal with, just being assaulted and, they're going to go, oh, sorry, it was just mistaken identity. Because I'm sorry, Victoria Police, Section 461 is not going to protect you on this one. That's just assault. So we've spoken about that extensively now. Nick, thanks so much for giving us that bit.
Can I just share this again? I just want to
yeah, of course.
This is my favorite bit. Give me a sec.
We've got 1,300 people watching, mate. Go for it. They're loving it. Smash the love hearts, guys.
So when the police are out the front here,
we can't see it yet.
Can't see it yet. Okay, tell me when you can see it.
Yeah.
Here we go. We're up. Yep.
So when the police didn't get what they wanted, you know, it just shows how petty it is for them to just park. And this is after, like, they set up at 4:30, and this is 9:09. It's been there for hours, and then they decide to just park out the front of my right at the front of my gate and put their lights and everything on. I mean, that's petty. That's weak. It's like a little child throwing a tantrum, you know.
So they think that you guys were inside the gym just waiting for them to leave. I'm guessing that's why they've done something like this.
I reckon they've done it just to turn the residents against us. Because prior to this, they've been actually going, you know, the days earlier, they've been driving up in mass, knocking on the doors of all the residents' houses and all of the other business owners and asking them about us, what we're doing, if we're running meetings, if we've got people in there. Yeah, you know, just doing their recon, trying to find out.
You think they were doing a drug bust with the amount of cops that were there?
Yeah, and, you know, and a lot of the people there will probably think that I'm a criminal because of this.
Yeah.
And that's what people are going to think, because I don't know everybody in the street. I've been there for over 10 years, but they're not all going to, I don't know everybody. And they're going to think, you know, that gym and an MMA gym, you know, it's not something, you know, you could easily connect an MMA fight gym to drugs. You could, sadly. That's just how it is. It's that kind of an industry. So,
you know what I reckon? Once this video is uploaded online, you should have a huge sign at the front of the gym to let the neighbors know what link to look for, so then they can get an explanation on what the hell has gone down here.
Yeah.
I could just go letterbox drop with all of them and show everybody, you know. But then I don't know who all the because there's some snitches in the street. I don't know who they are.
You know what? I just think it's a shame that, you know, all you're trying to do is just, you know, feed your family and do what you need to do to survive. And, you know, you're trying to do right by the community as well. You know, you're getting people who have churches, for God's sake, coming and, you know, seeking advice from you for how to deal with the police, because they believe a place of worship should be able to stay open and they should be able to operate. And because they feel so, you know, intimidated by what's going on with the police, they believe they needed to approach you and get some outside counsel, considering that you've been so successful dealing with them. And then the fact that you've gone and done that, you know, out of the kindness of your heart, and all the media's done with it is just try and paint someone like an anti-masker. It just goes to show how malicious the media are. They've completely lost any type of, you know, like morality and, you know, any type of common sense and being ethical whatsoever. And all they are there for are paid hired goons. And every single thing out there, from your politicians to your media to the government, the media, your politicians, the police, they're all hired goons, mate. They're all just bought, paid for by the establishment to serve the establishment, and that's it.
Well, my second incident with the police at my gym, there was 22 police officers that turned up, and a member of the DHHS.
I saw that. Yeah.
You know, and that was just to create fear. And they tried to arrest me, but they weren't able to make anything stick. It was a bit like, you know, when if you read the Bible, you know, they'd always try to question Jesus, and they'd try to trick him, and they'd question him all the time, and so they could take him from his words and they could deliver him to the governor. And it was like that. They were trying really hard to just make the most convoluted, tricky arguments, so that I would either acquiesce or I would acknowledge that I'm guilty. There'd be an admission of guilt.
Yeah.
But you know, we won, and by the grace of God, we won. And it shows, you know, that this Goliath that comes to try and destroy you wasn't able to. So they left, but they keep what they've done, and this is how low and petty they are. They came the third time, and they only stayed for a short time. Then nearly every day they've turned up with their police, with a police car just out the front of my gym, so people are scared to come in. So
That's
because if the
insane.
police car's out the front of the gym, people are going to just drive. They're going to be driving into the gym. They're going to see the police car. They're going to keep going, and that's what they've done. So and then they've even had the council contact me and say, "Oh, I think you need a permit," and I just said to them, "Oh, I don't think I do, mate. So thanks and bye." And I had that discussion. Then the council called again. They said, "Look, I think you need a building inspection on your structure." So they're just trying to find anything they can. So we've been attacked by the media, the police, the council, but we're still there. They haven't been able to shut us down because what we're doing is right and it's good.
Yeah.
And if we do the right thing, there is power in doing that, and that's why people have said, "Look, why don't you just stop? You're not making much money at the gym anyway. People aren't going in there, and then you're not making a lot of money." And I say, "Well, it's not really about that. It's about the truth, doing the right thing. If I let them win when I've got more energy to give, then I'm part of the lying. I'm lying as well."
Yeah, I get that, Nick, because, the other day when I went to Epping Plaza, I put a mask on, I put it halfway down my face, just so if anyone says anything, I just, don't have to, deal with all the bullshit. And today when I went to go get my hair cut, I said, you know what? I could because it's easier, but it's not right.
Yeah.
Because this is all based on a lie. And if I do that, then I'm just, being part of the, the crowd that's just, putting a mask on, so it's not about, it's about doing what's right. And, if this is all based on a lie, no, fuck you, I'm not wearing a mask.
Yeah, that's the whole, what they used to call the principle.
Excuse my language.
It's the principle of it, What the principle is the truth. And you should never let the truth be the casualty of any of those interactions, regardless of how, and that's expressed in commerce and in the Bible as well, where, in commerce, you express truth in the form of an affidavit. And if you don't rebut the affidavit, their affidavit stands as true. So if a big corporation sends you a demand notice, and you don't rebut the claims that they've made, then you've agreed by your silence.
Silence is an admission of guilt.
Is consent. Yeah, it's your consent.
Cool. All right, guys, let's move on to the next thing we're going to talk about. Nick, you going to stick around or you want to?
Yeah, I'll stick around.
Yeah, cool. All right, what were we going to talk about next?
The Berlin protest.
No, weren't we going to talk about the other lies the media have been talking about? And
which ones? Like
the
okay, so
Hassan, the fact that we're a cult. Let's put it to bed, right? Okay, so the fact we're a cult. Go to that conspiracy theorist thing that was written by that article.
Yep.
That was written about it, and let's show the photo and let's actually tell everyone how well we know each other.
So, firstly,
and I'll show my messenger that I've spoken to Nick on to show that I've only sent one message to Nick, and that was shit. Actually, Nick, did I message you back? I don't think I did.
No, I messaged you months ago, and you never messaged me back. So, all right, it's too busy.
So let's have a look at this, right? So let's have a look at the people in this photo and let's say, okay, so we're a cult. So if we're a cult, there would have to be a belief that we are very well, we're very well connected with each other and there is a lot of correspondence between us, right? Obviously. Okay, so starting with myself, Nick on the left. Okay, Nick. Sorry, mate, I didn't answer that message ages ago, but how are we involved if I haven't even replied back to Nick's message from ages ago because I didn't know who I was messaging back because I have so many inboxes, right? But we're involved in a cult, aren't we, Nick? Right? And Raph I've known since the start, since all of the inception of all this happened. James Bartolo, I've never spoken to him in my life. I don't even think I've had him on Messenger. I think he joined the 99% group, I think, because there's so many people on there. It's good exposure, but it's just a Facebook group, right? And Eve, I had the first communication with Eve, I think a week before the incident with the police. So please, someone tell me how in God's green earth we are involved in a cult with the fact I know these people. And just to add insult to injury, do you want to just stop screen sharing for a sec, bro? Just so everyone can see I'm not full of it. I'll bring up my messenger.
Yeah, and it's funny because, yeah, in that photo with Eve, I spoke to her for the first time last week, first time ever, and we're supposedly in a large cult.
Yeah.
Nick as well, tried to get to you, never had a conversation. This is the first time we're in front of each other as well. So they're just putting everyone into, into a group, they reckon. It's like, nah. There's a whole bunch of groups that are speaking the same thing, that are standing up for, actually not even the same thing. People are just speaking up for many different things, but a huge aspect of that is our rights being taken away. And the fact that they try to dumb it down by saying we're cult leaders, we're conspiracy theorists, we're anti-maskers. Like at the very beginning, we were called like anti 5G tower conspiracy people. Like they just, every single week, it's just a different name. It's just funny how it's come down to this.
Yeah, let's expose the lie today, mate. Let's show just how well we know each other, right? So I'm bringing up my Facebook now with Nick. Nick, I'm going to have to like try and make sure your mobile number's not on there.
I think everyone has my mobile number, mate, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, does it? Okay. That's all right. Oh, you've probably got it for your gym, huh? Yeah. Oh, it'd probably be good advertising for your gym. All right. So I'm just going to, this is Nick getting through to me on Messenger, right? We're meant to be very, very well connected, aren't we, guys? Right? So you please tell me if we are, how. Can you guys see that?
Yep.
Okay. There you go. 11th of May, Nick sent me this message and some scumbag didn't return his message. That scumbag being me. So you tell me how we know you tell me how we're in a cult and we're like, absolutely, completely, connected with each other.
It's actually incredible because the article actually brought us together like today in a sense.
Yeah. Thanks for the article, guys. You brought us together to expose the bullshit.
Well, it's interesting because after that article is, I think, when I did a live with James Bartolo because of it. So I knew Eve, and I'd communicated with James on just on social media because I'd shared a couple of his videos, but I didn't speak to him personally until after that article.
Yeah, let's. So, Raph, bring that article back up for a second. And this is great, guys. You know what this is? It allows us to just expose all the lies, right? So we barely even knew each other. Like, apart from myself and Raph being very, very close because of what we've been doing together and becoming friends over doing all this, right? Nick, I met you once at the protest and we spoke on the phone today because I believe that, it would have been amazing to have you on, which it has been. And this was the first time we communicated over the phone. True?
Yep.
So Harold's son, you're full of shit. News.com.au, you're full of shit. The Australian, you're full of shit. And all the other newspapers out there that have been writing articles, how about you actually do a real news story and stop being a tabloid, like some second-rate tabloid that writes rumors. I thought you guys were reputable newspapers, the Australian, the Sydney Herald Sun, right? But you know what? You're all News Corp, Rupert Murdoch puppets.
Well, what it shows is they're losing the narrative. So, I mean, obviously the media's job is to control people's perceptions. That they, their job is to convince them of a lie. And what this shows is that they're losing control of the people's minds and they're trying very hard. I don't know if you saw those doctors, the congressman in the US and that video that was taken down. Well, my friend's Vimeo channel was taken down, completely disabled for sharing that. My Vimeo channel, because it was connected to his Vimeo channel, was taken down as well. So this is what's been happening. This is the censorship.
So who's Vimeo owned by, though?
I don't know, but I know it's a
party.
So Vimeo's been taking stuff down, censoring. So has YouTube. That by them doing this, what it does is everybody that sees that has any capacity to think goes, hey, well, something's wrong here, and they start to think. They go down the rabbit hole. So it's really good because it's like in fighting terms when you go and fight. If you get all emotional, people drop their hands and start swinging wild because they let the emotion take over, and you get sloppy, and that's what's happening. They're getting really sloppy. They're losing control, and now they're freaking out, and they're trying to keep us believing the false narrative. But I believe they've already lost. It's just a matter of time. We've just got to keep pushing forward with it.
Yeah, that's
the way
very true.
The way I see it is that these restrictions, ever since the beginning, it's actually been a huge plus for people to actually look into this and think for themselves, because we're spending a lot more time inside and actually being exposed to this. So as horrible as level 4 restrictions can be for business owners, people that aren't working, it also gives that opportunity for people like us to spread our message. And you know what? Screw it. We're going to go even harder. We're going to be uploading on more than a daily basis now, because more people are going to be staying inside. More people are going to be stuck to their phones. So it's been a huge plus for us, and they're just making it worse for themselves at the end of the day, really.
That's so true, Raph. That's an excellent point. And I think when they said that this was the apocalypse, it was the unveiling, because I think so many eyes had their eyes somewhere else because they were distracted, and now no one has that choice but to have their eyes on either what's going on or what they're being told is going on. So, this really is the unveiling. And I think, as long as people stick together and really just, don't give up and keep trying to get the message out there, there is a possibility that it's going to come to, I believe wholeheartedly that this is World War III happening right now. I believe it's a silent war, and it's us against artificial intelligence.
There's no question that it's all about the mind, and that we are at war. The battlefield's definitely our minds, because we, and I'm just going to bring the Bible in here. We were given dominion from the beginning, and that's where every man-made law requires consent for that reason. So a man-made law, the ones that come from the divine, they don't need consent, right? So your biblical law, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not bear false witness. These things are, thou shalt not steal. That's law. Everything else that's under that's made by man, requires consent, because we have dominion. Dominion was given to us at the beginning, and that's the battlefield. So if you can convince people that they're less than a man or a woman, and they convince them by giving them a benefit to sign something and become, and register something with the government, or to become an entity of some description, whether it be a person, a driver, a citizen, a resident, then they waive their rights as a man or a woman and become less. That's how they subjugate us.
Let's bring up the Berlin thing. Let's show that before we go, guys. Let's quickly talk about that, and let's finish it up. Let's try and keep it, at about an hour and 10 minutes, no longer than that. So, Raph, bring up the Berlin protests, and
awesome.
Let's tell them what the news said about that, and how many people were there, and how many people actually went there.
So the news, and I believe it was CNN, had said there were about 13,000 people at Berlin. 13,000, and
why would you
lie? Sorry,
why would they lie about that? That's what pisses me off.
Yeah.
Why would you lie about it? By you not telling the truth about how many people were there, you're just showing your hand and showing just how much you don't want people to believe that, that there's something going on with this.
Yeah. And then they go and just choose whatever screenshot they want to get to make it look like it was the 13,000. It's like, sorry, there was about an estimated over 1.2 to 1.3 million people at this event. And we're going to see what this whole anti-lockdown protest was about. And, really, this has set a standard for the entire world. And I'm so glad that they've done something like this. So, Australia has to be one to do something like this.
Unsere Forderung ist zurück zur Demokratie, weg mit den Gesetzen, die uns einengen, weg mit der Maske, die uns zu Sklaven macht.
You sharing the audio from your computer?
Yeah, it's just very low.
Germans have learned what happens when you let the government take too much power, mate. along with, you know, Russians as well.
Wir sind heute hier, weil auf der ganzen Welt nur noch wenige Wissenschaftler, die regierungstreu berichten, gehört werden. Es gibt Tausende, Abertausende Wissenschaftler, Ärzte weltweit, die werden nicht gehört, die werden mundtot gemacht, die werden zensiert oder als Verschwörungstheoretiker diskreditiert, obwohl sie ganze Universitäten geleitet haben. Dagegen protestiere ich. Ich möchte den Konsens, der früher möglich war und jetzt nicht mehr erlaubt zu sein scheint.
Yeah, that's it.
So that's 13,000, they reckon.
Yep.
Should we show some screenshots of how many people were really there?
Yeah, I'll bring
Just
up
in
the
case people
screenshots.
haven't seen it.
Yeah, I believe it was, let me go to Pete Evans' Instagram account because he's the one that had it. And like the screenshots are amazing from above and it really does set that example. And it's great because even though we're doing the very best that we can within Australia by spreading the message, protesting when we can and stuff like that, it's just amazing to see that on the other side of the world, because whether people see it or not, that's actually empowering us so much more. So yeah, and it really does remind people to keep on going, because it's not only you in your city that's speaking up, it's the whole world.
Yeah.
If the media narrative was correct, then they're all going to die from coronavirus. So, you know, and that's definitely not going to happen. So here's the proof.
Yeah. All right. So here, look at this. Look at the crowd. Look at that photo on the bottom left. These people look like ants.
So
why are the Aussies so soft?
Pete Evans, if you come across this, we'd love to have a chat to you, mate, because you are an absolute superstar with all this stuff. And, you know, you're one man who hasn't cared about the fact that you're in the spotlight with the media and all that. You still speak your mind, mate. And that takes some serious strength and courage, mate. So if you come across this, Pete, we'd love to have a chat to you, bro. Yeah. So look at that, guys. Wow.
And even what he wrote here goes, I was sent this from many friends today. People in Berlin protested against Germany's coronavirus restrictions on Saturday, insisting the end of the pandemic has arrived. You see, the people decide when the pandemic ends.
That's right.
Protesters held up signs with slogans like Corona, false alarm, we are being forced to wear a muzzle, natural defense instead of vaccination. And I love that. And we are the second wave. I love that they spoke on the vaccinations, because I'm aware, even the people that haven't woken up to what's going on, I'm sure they've come across what the hell Bill Gates wants for the rest of the population to have. And it's great that everyone's on the same note.
Yeah, that's amazing. And, you know, look, people have asked, you know, we need to do something. We need to, you know, we really need to have action, this and that. You also need to be smart about how you do things. Everything's about timing. And, you know, before someone's about to go into stage 4 lockdown, the last and the worst thing you could do was go out there and have a public gathering. So then when they go and do it, they can blame it on you. Right? But now they've done it. And they've done it even though no one had major gatherings. Right? Now they've done it. And they've done it even though people did start wearing masks. Now they've done it. And they've done it even though people were following the rules and social distancing and staying in their homes. And, you know, all the clubs and bars and nightclubs and all the cafes were still closed. And they still did it. Right? So everyone did everything right to stop the spread, but it still spread. So that means whatever you told everyone to do didn't do anything. But now we're meant to listen to you again. And now they're like the boy who cried wolf, you know? How many times are people going to be told what to do before they finally, and I believe that, you know, now that we're moving into stage 4 and people have finally seen that it doesn't matter what you do, they are going to have you by the balls and do whatever they want to do with you. Maybe now when they see that call to action, wherever it may be, if you see a smiley somewhere, right? Wherever that may be, people need to make sure that it's going to be one of the most important meetings of their life, mate, because it will be. Anyone got anything to add tonight, guys? Nick, you got any final words, mate? Thanks so much for taking the time to speak to us.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate it. Look, I just want to say that, you've heard Dan Andrews talk about how it's not about rights. He doesn't hear about rights. A friend of mine was arrested actually the other day for not wearing a mask by a PSO on the train. Now, PSO apparently doesn't even have the power to arrest, just to detain until the police arrive. He was asked, so my friend asked him, what crime have I committed? And the PSO said, mate, it's all over the media. It's law. This is the way they answer the questions that people ask now. So they're not in honour, and they're not following their processes at all. And if you don't have rights, you don't really have anything. And rights is what it's all about. You can have all the cars in the world if you like cars, but if you don't have the right to drive it, then you don't. What's the point? And that's why the rights is the biggest issue, and it's the heart of everything. So if people just let them take away our rights, who in their right mind thinks it's okay for other people that they don't know to govern over them in a way where they can take away their ability to sustain themselves, and wants to put a mask over their face? Who thinks that's right? People have got to come together and start fighting against it. And I know a lot of people are scared. They're scared of getting a fine, or they're scared of the persecution from the people that are zombies. But it's the time to fight now. And I'm not saying we go and we have fist fights. I'm saying that we stand up and we fight against the false ideas and the false narrative. And we've been able to prove today some of those false narratives. And I would assume that all of it that's coming out of the mainstream media is a false narrative.
Yeah. And, the whole thing about them holding someone until the police arrive with regards to, mate, people need to understand that not wearing a mask is a summary offence, and it's not even that. It's seen as a summary offence, but it's like being caught speeding or getting a parking ticket, right? Or swearing in public. The moment the offence has ceased, or whether they've been given a summons to appear in court or not, Section 458 subsection 3 says they must be let go because the need to attend before a court or competent jurisdiction doesn't exist because they haven't committed an indictable offence, which means that though they weren't wearing a mask, they can be given a fine. They don't need to accept the fine, but they need to let them go. They're not meant to be detaining them until the police get there. It's not an indictable offence.
100%, and that's what they're doing. My mate's video was his first time standing up to to the power that be, and he went to work without a mask. He said, "I'm not wearing a mask." They asked him for his name. He said, "I'm not going to give you my name. I don't have to give you my name." And you don't have to give your name to the police unless you're driving. Then they'll smash your window, drag you out if you don't. So make sure you give your name and address if you're driving. But yeah, and the arrogance of this guy, which is. No, you do. I'll arrest you. It's the power, right? So there's a lot of, I'm sure there's good police out there that don't want to, that don't like what's happening, but there's a lot that aren't. And if we don't sort of stand up to them, they're going to be confident. It's the same if you fight. Like I was a pro fighter, so I look at it from a fighting perspective. If I'm in there sparring with someone, or I'm in the ring fighting, and I don't really fight, I run away and try not to just get hurt, that your opponent's going to be really confident. But if you start to hit them back and hurt them, that's going to make them lose their confidence. And we need to do that because we really have the numbers that we just need to not bow down to it and come together. But I think the critical mass is almost there. I don't think we have to, we're at that point where people are waking up very fast, and seems to be whatever the government does to try to, especially in Victoria, to control the narrative, it fails on them. Because people like yourself, I'm doing my bit, other people are doing their bit to show people what the actual narrative should be and what it is. I actually did a rebuttal article, rebutting those other articles that we read. I did that last night. I finished at 3 o'clock in the morning with a friend of mine, just to show people, no, this is what they've said. And this is actually, and I think that was the article that you were sharing before, Raph, that we made. So we're doing our bit, and if we all have other audiences that we're able, and you have a bigger audience, and others that might have a smaller audience, but if we just speak the truth, I'll tell you, it just destroys all of the lies. Because once someone knows that the government's lying, and that the media lies, are they going to get tricked again? I don't think it's not easy to get tricked again. They start to question everything after that.
It's so true, bro. And before we finish, and I will let Raph, you have your final word as well, mate. Raph, do you remember when we did the expose on Armit, right? Perfect example of the little guys taking down the whole Goliath network. Me and Raph did a little expose on that guy, Armit, right? The supposed COVID survivor who 2 days later was able to, was all fine, didn't even look like he was pale or anything. And he's just gone through the most traumatic experience of his life, right? And then someone found his Instagram, right? And we did an expose on his Instagram. And because we did a thing about the Croesus Act, and then someone told us about his Instagram. That's right. Is that right, Raph?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we looked at his Instagram, and the guy's got photos to hop in a private, waiting at Essendon Airport to hop a private jet to Canberra, waiting to speak to the speaker while he's at the Parliament House, pictures of him with Bill Shorten and Peter Hitchner from Channel 9, and even pictures with other reporters. We found other news reports where he'd been on Channel 7. And, anyone would think, well, that could be a coincidence until the guilty showed his hand when he went and wiped everything off his Instagram. He wiped every single photo off his Instagram. Now, if you had nothing to hide, why would you have gone and wiped all those photos? Why? Because you were getting absolutely hammered because you were caught out. Yeah. And they had like 40-something thousand views when they took it down. But did they take it down because that my profile was gone, Raph, or when the
they took down the video, and I believe that's when it was around the same time when the main 66,000 group was taken.
So the video was part of my profile in the group. So when they took the group down, they took the video down. But just goes to show we do have power. And we do have the ability to get the word out there, right? And so many people losing faith in the media because all they're doing is lying and more lies. And you've seen tonight with us being in a cult, we didn't even frigging know each other that well, right? Everyone that was in that photo, the only one I knew well was Raph, right? Yes, we met each other before, like myself with you at the protest, Nick, on May the 11th or May the 10th or whatever it was. But it just goes to show, once again, that's another lie. And the things about the crystal was another lie. And then your gym is another lie. Yeah. And then the fact they smashed that female's window because she was part of what you guys were doing is another lie. And the media just keeps showing their hand that they're willing to say whatever they need to say. If this thing was so real, why do they need to be so fraudulent with everything they're doing? They wouldn't need to, right? They'd have plenty of footage of hospitals. They'd have plenty of footage of real things that we're doing, wouldn't they? But they're not. They're just fabricating stories out of thin air, and they're attacking people like they did with Eve with that article. Who cares what someone does in their past? What does that have to do with the fact that they've got a political stance, right? Which just goes to show it's malicious, and all it's about is degrading people. And the media using their power that they are the voice to the many, to try and tear people down. You got any final words about anything of this tonight, Raph?
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, Nick, firstly, thank you so much for being on and really for speaking up for everything that's going down. Like, it's such a big thing to do. And I know that you're most certainly not only empowering the people that are going to your meetings, but also everyone else, like even everyone watching this video, and whatever you're doing on your profile, like it's making a huge difference, because if you were to not be standing up for yourself, you just close shop, and just take whatever the government's, trying to force upon you, then they're going to get their way. And, at the end of the day, that's not really going to be great for the people. And I feel like you, just by opening your gym and doing what you're doing, that is doing so much more than what is actually being seen. So I hope that you understand that. And I'm sure everyone's so appreciative of you coming on board in this group tonight, just to show exactly what went down, to expose expose it all. And with that article as well, the ones that you guys made, how you put it together with all the information, how it all went down, like that was incredible. If you guys can get more articles like that, just say for future events that come up, like I know that will go around the group like wildfire, you know. But yeah, thank you so much for being here tonight. And yeah, we really, really do appreciate you for all you're doing.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Love your work.
No worries, Nick. Thank you so much for having you on. Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone, for joining us, guys. We've still got 928 people after an hour and 10 minutes, right? So this was a fantastic one. Guys, please share. Let's out the media, and let's show how much lies the media are making, and how many lies they're perpetuating, and what they're doing, and how malicious everything they're doing is, because all they're doing is showing their hand as an organization that's not there to inform the people and empower the people. It's there to act as a puppet for the establishment, and that's about it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone.